Well, somebody's asked me about vermouths and the differences. So really, vermouth is fortified wine. All vermouth is generally fortified wine, okay? Now also may have a bit of wormwood in it, because actually the word vermouth is actually a derivative really of something called Vermouth, which is also a German word for wormwood. But there's also an argument between the Americans and the Europeans, about the Europeans saying that it has to have wormwood in it to be a vermouth, whereas the Americans saying, well, no, actually it doesn't really have to. But that is the debate that you can decide on your own. Read both arguments, okay? But generally speaking, a white one that we know of is generally going to be dry. Now, dry means it's going to have less sugar in it. It will still have the same kind of herbs in it, okay? So it's going to be a fortified wine, but it'll also have coriander, maybe even have some junipers, have some wormwood, have some saffron, have some gentian, have some chamomile. All these kind of herbs and spices are in it. The people that make this stuff are very, very protective, right? It's very hard to find out exactly what they do in it unless you want to spend a lot of money and get the chemical analysis done. So a dry vermouth, a general dry vermouth, like for example what I use here, which is Cinzano, is going to be dry, very low in sugar and generally clear in color. And this is sometimes known as, actually if you read the old books, as a French vermouth, okay? Now the most common one that we all know and have seen, especially those who leave it out on their back bar or on the shelf, please store it in the fridge, okay? Put vermouth in the fridge, in the fridge, in the fridge, is a Rosso vermouth, which is a red vermouth. Now, this is going to be slightly higher in sugar, okay? A little bit more caramel as well, obviously getting more into that color. And this is what goes really well with things like Negronis and Boulevardiers, and also just even sipping on its own. But there's also another sweet version, which is also clear, which we know as Blanc or Blanco. This is a good example of it, Dolin, they make a good one, which is like this, but it's clear. Okay, so it's got a higher sugar content. And then there's one that just is a curveball, and that is amber. Now, amber is a mix between either a dry or a sweet, so it's semi or medium semi or whichever, all right? It's quite unique. Some say it's actually maybe both red and white grapes. I don't know if that has been confirmed or not. Really good with tequila and mezcals, by the way. So there you go. But then you've also got something really rather unique, which is just a standard dry. You've got extra dry, which is generally this, or dry. But there's a company called Nolly Prout, and Nolly Prout does a standard dry one, which is really unique because they make it and then they leave it outside in the elements near a riverbank, so that saltiness or even the environment and terroir and everything gets sucked into that wood for 1 year, and then they bottle it. So it's got a slightly off yellow color rather than a white color. Yet they do a special extra dry version for the North Americans. Yes, the North Americans fuck it up again, but personal issues on that one. And they made an extra dry version, so it's almost crystal clear. Okay, so there you go. You have a Rosso, dry or extra dry, an amber, and a Bianco. So Rosso, sweet, generally called Italian vermouth. Dry or extra dry, known as a French vermouth. Amber, semi dry. And then you got a sweet white vermouth, Bianco. And there you go, vermouth.